While running away, he saw a door in utility rooms and decided to go there to hide from mutant zombies. Entering inside, he saw an incredible beauty with torn tights who asked him if he wanted to have some fun. The cowboy buried his face in her lush, chic breasts, not believing that this could really happen, in fact, because she was very beautiful. And unfortunately for him, he was right. In fact, the beauty was a zombie, a mutant who used the female body to attract living people and eat them. Meanwhile, inside the granary, Li Xin fought back from a crowd of zombies while protecting Dr. Qin. Li Xin blamed Dr. Qin for the fact that because she was looking for the first aid kit, they had attracted too much attention from the zombies, to which Dr. Qin replied that the children needed antibiotics and she could not leave without them. Li Xin asked the doctor to hurry up because she could no longer hold back the flow of zombies. Being on the brink of death, Dr. Qin still managed to get a first aid kit. I understand that they can no longer defend themselves, since there were a lot of zombies. Li Xin and the doctor decided to escape. Seeing a narrow gap between two walls along the way, they decided to jump into it. While in the gap, Dr. Qin asked Li Xin what she was and why her breasts grew so big. Meanwhile, Liu Feng and Kelly went down to the K3 underground laboratory. In the laboratory, they discovered a very large number of zombie mutants and of a wide variety of samples. Liu Feng understood that there were a lot of zombies and they couldn't just pass them by. Then I saw a fire extinguisher and a generator standing nearby and decided to convert them into something else. Thanks to his ability to assemble useful military gadgets from all sorts of things, Liu Feng assembled a lightning fire extinguisher. Thanks to a lightning-fast fire extinguisher, he destroyed part of the zombies and filled the rest with foam from the fire extinguisher, preventing them from finding their way around. I understand that they don't have much time. They immediately ran to the internal laboratory to pick up the nanotechnology. But upon entering, they unexpectedly came across a three-headed, one-eyed zombie, a mutant who absolutely should not have been there. Kelly and Liu Feng could not understand how this monster could end up in the internal nanotechnology laboratory. It was an elite-level fused zombie, one-eyed. As a reward for killing him, the system offered Liu Feng 1,000 points. Seeing Kelly and Liu Feng in front of him, the one-eyed zombie immediately began to attack them, slamming his two powerful hands onto the ground, thereby splitting the floor in front of them. Liu Feng took Kelly in his arms to save her from the attack of the one-eyed zombie. At the same moment, he realized that it seems that the zombie's strength is somewhere on the level from A to RS. He asked to stand aside and hide without stopping him from dealing with this one-eyed zombie, since he understood that this was the first time he had met such an elite zombie, and he needed to be careful with him. The one-eyed zombie, thanks to its huge eye, did something to Liu Feng that made him drop his sword from his hands. Liu Feng didn't understand what was happening because his hands didn't obey him at all. The system warned him that an elite-level zombie had temporarily paralyzed his arms. The elite mutant zombie, without thinking for a long time, decided to attack again. Thanks to the fact that the hairdryer fortunately did not have paralyzed legs, he was able to dodge this blow by just ducking. Things were bad because Liu Feng did not expect that the elite zombie would have special abilities. In the blink of an eye, it took away his ability to fight in close combat. Liu Feng could not understand whether his abilities were controlled by three heads or a huge eye, when suddenly a zombie mutant spit acid with the head of a dog that was on his body. At the same time, next to the grain storage, Li Xin and Dr. Qin were still in this narrow passage in which they were very cramped. Li Xin asked Dr. Qin to shrink a little so that she could reach her hand from behind her back and take the weapon, when suddenly, one of the zombies grabbed them with his long tongue, enveloping their bodies with his tongue all over their body. The mutant zombie grabbed their bodies with his tongue and tried to pull them out of this passage in order to eat them. But Li Xin regrouped and grabbed the mutant zombie by its tongues with one hand, and with the other hand she took out her machine gun. First, she fired a machine gun burst at the heads of the mutant zombie, and then dealt him a crushing blow with her right foot. Having dealt with these long-tongued mutant zombies, Li Xin told Dr. Qin that everything was fine and they needed to get out of here. They finished off another zombie, a mutant that Li Xin had forgotten about, after which they successfully got out. Dr. Qin thanked Li Xin for saving her, saying that she used the terrain to kill the zombies, which was truly wonderful and professional. Hearing such praise from Qin, Li Xin said that she could give her a small kiss for this, pointing her hand to her cheek. At this moment, Dr. Chin noticed a wound on Li Xin's arm and said that she needed an urgent amputation. Otherwise, she will be infected. But Li Xin hastened to reassure the doctor, saying that everything is fine because she has been vaccinated. Li Xin told the doctor that their safe shelter not only had a lot of food, but also a vaccine. Dr. Chin couldn't understand how they were able to develop a vaccine because she heard that the Northern Base Research Institute was still in the process of developing it. Moreover, she couldn't believe that Liu Feng was the manager of the shelter, because from the looks of it, one couldn't say that he was capable of such a thing. Dr. Chin realized at that moment that if she joined them, she could help many children. Suddenly at that moment, some girl came out from behind the bags of wheat. Appearing in front, the girl invited them to have fun together, unbuttoning her blouse and throwing out her breasts. Li Xin immediately pointed her gun at her and told her to stand still and not move. Dr. Chin asked Li Xin to lower the machine gun, thinking that there was a living person in front of them. But Li Xin did not listen to Dr. Chin and shot this girl directly in the forehead with her machine gun. Seeing this, the doctor was shocked, because she could not understand why the Xin had just killed a man. Dr. Chin stood with her back to the seemingly dead girl, when suddenly a zombie, a mutant who had previously absorbed the cowboy, emerged from her body and grabbed her by the arms. Kelly was very worried about Liu Feng, but thanks to the Kung Fu chip, Liu Feng was able to activate his mechanical arm and protect himself from the acid spit. Kelly was pleasantly surprised to see that Liu Feng was able to use his mechanical arm. He told her that although he couldn't lift his hands with, well, a Kung Fu glove, he could control with the chip and give instructions through the system. After which he commanded the system to prepare a strike with a steel fist and capture the target. As soon as the system completed this, he fired a shot and destroyed one of the mutant zombie heads with his mechanical fist. After that, Liu Feng immediately rushed to attack using a crossbow. He decided to attack the central head. But the mutant zombie protected it with his hands, and Liu Feng realized that if he was protecting the central head, then it was the main one. And in order to use his hands again, he needed to destroy it. The mutant zombie launched another attack on Liu Feng using his huge arm, but Liu Feng was able to dodge this time too, after which he used his fist of fury to counterattack. He hit the mutant zombie on his left arm, thereby tearing it off at the elbow. Feeling threatened, the one-eyed mutant zombie decided to attack Liu Feng with his tongue. It was a lousy move, and Liu Feng had to retreat. Moreover, he understood that his glove would soon run out. Kelly called Liu Feng, saying that she could move her arms, after which she attracted the attention of a huge eye, and again could no longer move her hands. Kelly asked him if he could kill a mutant zombie if he moved both hands. Liu Feng replied that if he used a two-handed sword, he would most likely be able to kill this mutant zombie, after which she said that he should trust her, because she is able to deal with the loss of control over his hands, and she asked him to wait for her signal near the sword. Liu Feng rushed into battle, diverting all the attention of the zombies, mutants, to himself, in order to give Kelly a chance to resolve the issue of losing control of her hands. The mutant zombie grabbed his mechanical arm with its tongue, but Liu Feng was not going to give up and used the mantis sword to cut off the tongue of the zombie monster. After which, running up, he hit the one-eyed mutant monster right in his good eye with all his might. Suddenly after that, Kelly was immediately able to move her hands, and she realized that she really just needed to divert the attention of his eyes. She took out her favorite revolver from her chest and aimed at the eye of the mutant zombie. Realizing that his eye was only capable of observing a small area, she realized that an animal was an animal. Having said that this mutant zombie has an IQ like a piece of bread, she fired a precise shot right into his huge eye. Liu Feng immediately felt that he could move his hands again, and realized that the source of the problem was still the eye. He picked up his second sword from the ground. He jumped on the mutant zombie and used the double strike technique with his swords to deliver a crushing blow. Meanwhile, in the granary, Dr. Chin recognized one of the zombie heads, seeing that it was the bounty hunter who went with his team after Liu Feng. But this was no longer the cowboy she knew earlier. This was a disgusting zombie, a mutant who just wanted to eat her. Li Xin couldn't let Dr. Chin die, so she grabbed her chest with one hand and with her other hand, she took the machine gun and started shooting at the mutant zombie. Thanks to her professional training and accurate shooting, Li Xin destroyed all 2 heads that the mutant zombie had, but he was still alive. Li Xin immediately realized that somewhere inside her body there was another head, when suddenly they heard crying from her stomach, and a moment later a small child fell out of it. It was a disgusting, vile, even premature, already zombie child. Dr. Chin could barely hold back the tears in her eyes, realizing that he had not even been born, but had already become a terrible monster. Li Xin, unlike the doctor, did not feel sorry for this baby because she understood that if she did not kill him, he would kill them, because this is the world of the apocalypse. After which, outside the warehouse, Dr. Chin buried this baby, wishing him to be reborn as an ordinary child in his next life. She understood that such a fate awaited all children in the post-apocalypse. Seeing her sad look, Li Xin said that she was very sentimental. Turning around, Dr. Chin said that she wanted to go to Liu Feng's hideout, but Li Xin told her that she couldn't just join their shelter. The doctor asked to take her to Liu Feng, saying that he would definitely agree. Just when Li Xin decided to call and find out where Liu Feng was, she suddenly saw something scary on the roof of the building, so she immediately grabbed Dr. Chin and ordered her to immediately lie down on the ground. As soon as they fell to the ground, Li Xin immediately covered them with her invisibility battle cloak, saying that it looks like this person on the roof is the one Liu Feng told her about, so if they want to survive, they need to be quiet and below the grass. They were shocked because this woman came very unexpectedly. Meanwhile, in the K3 secret laboratory, Liu Feng, using his 2 swords simultaneously, was able to cut 2 mutant zombie heads in half with 1 blow. Kelly couldn't believe her eyes, but he actually managed to cut off 2 heads with just 1 blow. Well, this was not the end, because from the body of the deceased, according to Kelly and Liu Feng, a zombie mutant, a worm, crawled out, on the head of which was the same huge eye that Kelly shot. Suddenly, the system warned Liu Feng that a natural disaster-level energy had been detected nearby and asked him to urgently evacuate because this is a red-level danger. This threat was Empress Li Hanyang, also known as the Scarlet Empress, whose ability is to control blood and decompose all living things. The system again warned Liu Feng about the red danger level. Having said that the disaster-level mutant has become stronger, according to the system, she has just woken up and is looking for food. When Kelly saw her, she immediately realized that she was Liu Feng's neighbor, Li Hanyang. Just her look made me feel like a bubble rising in the water. It felt as if God himself was looking at her. She grabbed the one-eyed mutant zombie by his tentacle with one hand and turned her other hand into sharp claws and pierced his huge eye right through. After she pierced him with her hand, she immediately began to suck all the life juices out of him. Liu Feng was very amazed to see this, as she had defeated the elite-level zombies that were so difficult for him in one fell swoop. Kelly was very scared and asked Liu Feng what should they do. He knew that they could not escape, and they could not move. They could only hope that the bloody Empress still remembered Liu Feng. They stood frozen in one place, hoping that Empress Li Hanyang would recognize Liu Feng and let them go. But something went wrong, and the Empress grabbed Liu Feng and dragged him to her. At this moment, Liu Feng knew that his situation was very bad. He prayed that his aunt would remember him. Suddenly, Empress Li Hanyang turned her gaze to Kelly and decided to kill her by releasing her sharp vein in her direction. Liu Feng could not understand what was happening and asked the system to give him an analysis of what was happening, to which the system replied that the Empress remembers him a little, but Kelly doesn't know and decided to kill her. He couldn't think of anything better than to kiss his beloved Aunt Li passionately, in order to save Kelly, because he couldn't lose her. Empress Li Hanyang was dumbfounded by Liu Feng's action and left Kelly alone, after which, after thinking for a moment, she scratched his cheek with her sharp nails, after which she licked his blood from his cheek with her long tongue. The system immediately warned Liu Feng that his blood had been absorbed by the Scarlet Empress, and she would now remember his scent forever, and would be able to track his location in the future. Kelly suddenly had a desire to win because she didn't want to let Liu Feng go for anything. Kelly, before the apocalypse, was an unstoppable capitalist elite. Therefore, she could not allow other women to take her man away from her. Empress Li Hanyang looked into Liu Feng's eyes as she left. He, seeing this meaningful look, realized that it seemed that Aunt Lee had not forgotten him, and she still had a chance to be cured.